In Los Angeles, a city already trembling from months of escalating feuds, fractured loyalties, and explosive confrontations, nothing prepares anyone for the moment Sheila Carter's brutality reaches a new, horrifying peak. A moment so vicious and so unexpected that it sends shockwaves through the Forrester, Logan, and Spencer families alike, beginning on a seemingly ordinary afternoon when Katie Logan, determined to protect her son Will and shield Bill Spencer from the growing danger orbiting him, decides to confront Sheila directly, not out of arrogance, but out of desperation, because she senses more clearly than anyone that Sheila is spiraling into something darker than even her own legendary history of chaos. And as Katie moves through the dim back hallway of Il Giardino, her heartbeat pounding as she rehearses the words she plans to tell Sheila, words that she hopes will slice through the woman's delusion and force her to back off, she doesn't realize Sheila has been tracking her every step, anticipating her confrontation with a grin that is half smirk, half predatory thrill. And when Katie corners her near the rear exit where the low lighting casts long shadows, she launches into a fierce speech, reminding Sheila that she will never, under any circumstance, control Bill, threaten the people he loves, or try to wedge herself into their lives again. But Sheila responds with a mocking laugh, the kind of laugh that chills the blood because it carries no fear, no restraint, nothing but primal enjoyment at the torment she's about to unleash. And before Katie can react, Sheila lunges, knocking her backward against the wall, sending pain shooting down her side. As the world blurs, and Sheila's voice becomes a sharp, venomous whisper accusing Katie of ruining her chances with Bill, accusing her of poisoning his mind, calling her a parasite feeding off his guilt and loyalty. And then, with terrifying force, Sheila swings, sending Katie crashing to the ground, her breath stolen as panic twists through her chest. Realizing that this isn't just another Sheila confrontation. This is an attack, an unhinged explosion of violence, the kind of brutal outburst that could change everything, because Sheila doesn't stop. She towers over Katie with the wild look of someone who has snapped, someone who's no longer tethered to reason. And as Katie struggles to crawl away, Sheila grabs her by the arm and hisses that she should have stayed out of it, that she should have let Bill make his own choices, that she, Sheila, was the only woman truly capable of loving him the way he deserves. And Katie, summoning every ounce of strength she has left, shoves Sheila off just long enough to scramble toward the kitchen door, yelling for help. But Sheila doesn't give her the chance, slamming the door shut and cornering her again, ready to finish what she started, until suddenly the door bursts open and Deacon Sharp, who had been alerted by the commotion, shouts at Sheila to back off, creating a split second of distraction that allows Katie to slip past him, clutching her ribs, stumbling into the dining area where startled customers gasp, and within minutes she's rushed to the hospital, leaving Deacon behind, pleading with Sheila to understand what she's done. But Sheila refuses to show a shred of remorse, blaming Katie for provoking her, insisting she only reacted out of righteous anger. And when Deacon reminds her she just assaulted the sister of Brooke Logan and the ex-wife of the most powerful man in Los Angeles, Sheila simply smirks, saying Bill won't do anything because deep down he still needs her, still sees her, still remembers what they shared. But she doesn't know that at the hospital Bill Spencer is already there when Katie is wheeled in, his face going pale with fury and disbelief as he sees the bruises forming, the fear in Katie's eyes. And when she whispers, Sheila did this, something inside Bill detonates, a storm of rage so ferocious it shakes him to his core. And for the first time in years, he feels that old fire, that terrifying resolve that once made him unstoppable. But this time it isn't about empire or ego. It's about someone he loves being hurt by a woman he once allowed into his life, a woman he once defended, a woman whose darkness he thought he'd escaped. And as the doctors rush Katie away for scans, Bill vows to himself that Sheila Carter will never again lay a hand on anyone he cares about. And by the time he storms out of the hospital, his jaw clenched, his fist tight, he's already planning his next move, heading straight for Il Giardino where he finds Sheila trying to slip out the back. But Bill blocks her path, his voice low, dangerous, cold, telling her that she crossed a line she will never come back from, that attacking Katie was not just a mistake, but a declaration of war. And Sheila, instead of shrinking back, leans forward with that twisted confidence and claims Katie exaggerated, that she only defended herself. But Bill steps closer, telling her that if she ever comes near Katie, near Will, near anyone he loves again, he will unleash a wrath she cannot escape. Not legally, not socially, not in any corner of Los Angeles, because he will expose every crime she has ever committed, every lie she has ever spun, every dark secret she has ever buried, and he will do it publicly, relentlessly, until no one, not even Deacon, will stand by her side. And though Sheila tries to maintain her bravado, Bill's intensity forces a flicker of fear across her face, because she knows, deep down, that Bill Spencer's power is absolute when he chooses to wield it, and he chooses now. Especially after Katie's tearful breakdown in the hospital room when she confesses to Brooke and Donna that she thought Sheila was going to kill her, that she had never felt such raw violence, such hatred, and the Logan sisters huddle around her, vowing that they will not let Sheila terrorize their family ever again. While Ridge, upon hearing the news, immediately demands that Carter, Finn, and even Steffi stay on high alert, knowing that Sheila becomes most dangerous when she feels cornered, and this attack has placed a spotlight directly on her, pushing her into the kind of desperate spiral that leads to reckless decisions. And Deacon, caught between protecting the woman he loves and confronting the monster she can become, pleads with Sheila to turn herself in, to admit she lost control. But Sheila snaps, screaming that everyone is turning against her, that Bill is poisoning the city with lies, that Katie deserved what she got for trying to steal Bill away, and Deacon realizes, heartbreakingly, that this is the beginning of Sheila's unraveling, not the end. Because Bill's warning, though explosive, may not be enough to contain the storm she's about to create, as whispers ripple across LA that Sheila Carter is more dangerous now than ever before, more volatile, more unpredictable. And as Katie slowly recovers, her family rallying around her, Bill positions himself as her protector with a ferocity that even Brooke has never seen before, declaring that Sheila's reign of terror ends now, and he will make sure of it. Whatever it takes, whatever lines he has to cross, whatever alliances he must form, because in Bill Spencer's world, no one hurts Katie Logan and walks away unscathed, setting the stage for a collision so massive, so emotionally charged, so deeply personal, that it threatens to engulf the entire city. A war between Bill's raw vengeance and Sheila's spiraling madness. A battle that will leave scars, forge new alliances, destroy fragile truces, and reshape the bold and beautiful landscape forever. But even as Bill Spencer's vow reverberates through Los Angeles like an approaching earthquake, the deeper consequences of Sheila's attack on Katie begin unfolding in ways no one anticipates. Because while the Logans, Forresters, and Spencers unite in anger, fear, and resolve, Sheila retreats into the shadows of her own paranoia, pacing the cramped, dimly lit rooms of Deacon's apartment, muttering under her breath about betrayal, about people conspiring against her, about a world unwilling to acknowledge the love she believes she shared with Bill. And Deacon watches with growing dread as she spins deeper into a psychological freefall, her words losing coherence, her eyes darting wildly as if she expects enemies lurking in every corner. And when Deacon gently brings up Katie again, asking her if she understands how serious the situation is, how Bill will use every ounce of his power to bury her, Sheila snaps, turning on him with such venom that for the first time he wonders whether even he is safe from the hurricane brewing inside her, and he realizes that convincing her to surrender is no longer possible. The Sheila standing before him is beyond reason, beyond caution, beyond compromise, and as she storms out of the apartment, swearing she'll prove Bill wrong, prove everyone wrong, prove she's still unstoppable, Deacon sinks onto the couch with his head in his hands, knowing that unless someone intervenes soon, Sheila's rage could rip through the city like wildfire, hurting more people, perhaps even costing lives. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Katie lies in her room with the faint beep of the monitors echoing through the sterile air, her body bruised, but her spirit even more shaken. And though Brooke and Donna stay by her side, holding her hands, smoothing her hair, whispering reassurances, Katie keeps replaying the attack in her mind, the look in Sheila's eyes, the hatred dripping from her voice, the moment she realized that Sheila wasn't just angry, she was intending to cause real harm, maybe worse, And Katie admits through tears that she thought it was the end, that she believed she would never see Will again, never get the chance to tell Bill she still cares for him in ways she's tried so hard to bury. And the emotional breakdown sends both Brooke and Donna into protective fury, each vowing silently that Sheila Carter will pay. Not just with legal consequences, but with the full force of their united family standing against her. And when Bill walks back into the room hours later, still vibrating with rage, his shoulders tense, his jaw locked, Katie reaches for him, telling him in a trembling voice that she doesn't want more violence. She doesn't want retribution that puts him in danger. She just wants Sheila gone, permanently removed from their lives. But Bill kneels beside her, brushing her cheek gently, promising her he will handle everything, that she doesn't need to worry about what actions he'll take, because he'll take them in the shadows, carefully, ruthlessly, the way only Bill Spencer can. And Brooke, standing behind him, exchanges a worried glance with Donna, because whenever Bill uses that tone, the icy, controlled tone, things tend to unravel in ways no one can predict. At Forrester Creations, the shockwaves continue spreading as Ridge, Steffi, and Thomas discuss the attack in the office, each increasingly concerned about Sheila's mental state. And when Finn enters the room, pale and visibly shaken after hearing the news, he expresses a mix of guilt and dread, admitting that no matter how much distance he puts between himself and Sheila, he still feels somehow responsible, as though his existence has allowed this monster to keep resurfacing, a confession that Steffi immediately rejects, reminding him that Sheila is solely responsible for her crimes and always has been. But Finn can't shake the weight pressing on his chest, especially after learning that Sheila fled Deacon's apartment in a rage, leaving her current whereabouts unknown. Meanwhile, Bill's explosive warning ripples outward through the city's influential circles, and even Justin Barber, upon hearing the news, reaches out privately to Bill to offer assistance, suggesting that if Bill truly wants Sheila neutralized, there are discreet ways to gather evidence, expose connections, or corner her legally without risking charges himself. But Bill thanks him and declines, insisting this is personal, something he must handle directly. And though Justin hangs up, he quietly begins digging anyway, because he knows Bill well enough to sense the danger in his voice, the danger of a man who might cross lines that can't be uncrossed. While all this unfolds, Sheila prowls LA like a wounded predator, her mind oscillating between rage and delusion, convinced she can salvage her world if she can just get people to listen, convinced that Finn still secretly wants a relationship with her, convinced that Bill's anger is temporary and driven by manipulation from Katie and Brooke, convinced that she is the misunderstood victim of a conspiracy involving half the city, and this unstable cocktail of denial and fury pushes her toward reckless decisions, like showing up outside Forrester Creations after sundown, lurking behind the hedges in the parking lot, watching Ridge leave with Carter, watching Steffi walk to her car with her driver, watching the building she has terrorized for years hum with activity she believes she is entitled to be part of, and she mutters to herself that she was supposed to have a place there, that she deserved forgiveness, that Finn owed her a chance. And the longer she stands there, the more her obsession sharpens into something dangerous. But she isn't the only one watching. Bill, who has been tracking her movements through contacts who owe him favors, spots her near the building and pulls up in his car mere minutes after she slips into the alley behind the employee entrance. And what follows is a confrontation so raw and charged it crackles with electricity, because when Bill steps out of the shadows, Sheila spins around with wild eyes, expecting Deacon or Finn, but finding instead the man whose approval she once craved more than anything. And Bill advances with a cold, lethal calm, telling her that she needs to leave LA, that if she doesn't disappear voluntarily, he'll make sure she disappears involuntarily. And Sheila, her breath heaving, claims she attacked Katie in self-defense, that Katie came at her first, that everything has been twisted against her. But Bill doesn't buy a word of it and grabs her wrist when she tries to walk past him, warning her that she will not escape consequences this time, that he is done protecting her, done pretending she can be redeemed, done allowing her to terrorize the woman he shares a child with. And Sheila, for the first time, senses that Bill truly means it, that his threats aren't bluffs, that he is ready to unleash hell in a way that could trap her permanently. And she panics, ripping her arm away and sprinting down the alley, disappearing into the night as Bill curses under his breath, realizing she is more unhinged and unpredictable than ever. The next morning, the city awakens to breaking news. Police have issued a warrant for Sheila's arrest related to the assault on Katie, thanks to a statement filed by the Logan family and corroborated by Deacon, who, after a sleepless night, decided he could no longer protect Sheila at the cost of his own conscience. And though he trembles while giving the police his testimony, he knows it's the right decision. But it also fills him with dread because he understands Sheila will see it as betrayal of the highest order. When Sheila learns of the warrant through a news alert on a borrowed phone she stole from an unsuspecting tourist, her world shatters completely. She screams, throwing the phone against the wall of the abandoned building she's taken refuge in, clawing at her hair in frustration and disbelief, swearing she'll get even with everyone who crossed her, especially Deacon, whom she now believes orchestrated the entire downfall. And the frightening clarity of rage that washes over her triggers a new plan. A reckless, dangerous plan, one that involves confronting Finn and Steffi directly to set the record straight. A delusional fantasy that she believes will force them to understand her, to choose compassion, to see her as the victim she believes she is, and unbothered by logic or danger, she begins plotting how to get to them despite increased security, despite Ridge's warnings, despite Bill's surveillance, telling herself that once Finn hears her out, everything will fall back into place, ignoring the fact that Finn has already cut her out of his life entirely. At the Cliff House, Finn receives the news of the warrant with a mix of relief and fear. Relief that someone is finally taking action against Sheila, but fear that a cornered Sheila is a volatile Sheila, and Steffi, seeing the tension etched in his face, wraps her arms around him, reminding him that she will protect their family no matter what, and that they have security, allies, and law enforcement on their side. But Finn whispers that sometimes even that isn't enough with Sheila, because she doesn't think like normal people. She thinks in extremes, in absolutes, in obsessions. Back at the hospital, Katie is discharged with strict orders to rest, and Bill insists on bringing her home personally, setting up security, posting guards, taking every precaution possible, because the fear of losing her, the fear that he came so close to something irreversible, has reignited a deeper connection between them, something tender and fragile that Katie tries not to overanalyze, but can't deny either. And when she thanks him softly for protecting her, Bill responds with a vow that he isn't just protecting her, he's protecting their family, the people they care about, the legacy they built, and that no matter what happens next, she will never face Sheila alone again. Meanwhile, Sheila, delusional and determined, creeps dangerously close to the next explosion in this escalating chain of events, unaware that Bill has already notified Ridge and Finn of her erratic behavior, unaware that Deacon has told the police she may attempt a confrontation, unaware that the walls are closing in on her from every direction, and as she crouches behind the trees near the Cliff House, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, the tension across Los Angeles builds to a breaking point. Bill tightening his defenses, Finn strengthening his resolve, Katie struggling with trauma, the Logans uniting in fury, Deacon spiraling with guilt, and Sheila teetering on the edge of complete collapse, setting the stage for a catastrophic showdown that will forever alter the lives of everyone connected to her, a confrontation fueled by obsession, vengeance, heartbreak, and the relentless determination of a woman who refuses to be erased, no matter the cost.